So we are going to get started. So we'll run maybe for about 45, maybe 40, 45 minutes in our State of the Institute address here today. I will leave some time at the end of our webinar again for some questions. So if you could use the Q&A box, we will make that happen there. This is going to be, this is being recorded too. So if we need a recording or the presentation, we could certainly make those things available as well for those of you that need them or want them. I can tell you it has been a heck of a 60 days into the new year here for Team EPI, for me, my father, Chris, and our family. Just about 30 days ago, I had the opportunity to speak at the U.S. Senate Committee on Small Business and Entrepreneurship. If you haven't seen that, it was quite an opportunity. I was an expert witness there with 3 other expert witnesses, all talking about wealth preservation, succession planning, and business ownership here in the United States. So fly on to my LinkedIn page. If you check me out on LinkedIn, I believe some of the recordings and whatnot are up there. You could look at the EPI blog as well. From there, I was able to take, as a business owner, talking to perhaps some fellow business owners and advisors here as well. I just got back into town on Sunday. So I was out of town for the month of February, and I got married. And I also was able to decentralize myself from the business enough to have my team here at EPI, led by our executive leadership team, to make that happen. So very, very exciting time here at EPI. So for those of you that I'll bring up my presentation here momentarily. And for those of you that don't necessarily know me, my name is Scott Snider, and I am the president here at Exit Planning Institute and one of the owners. Again, if you're new to EPI, we are a family-owned and run business. Something that we'll see here in our State of the Institute address and in the release of our State of Owner Readiness Survey from our national survey from last year. For me, I'm a passionate entrepreneur. I had the opportunity at a young age to experience my first exit back in 2010, when I exited my first company. And I didn't know at the time, but it was the first lesson I learned in the exit planning space. It was a personal planning lesson. Although we had a successful exit, I did not know what I truly wanted to do next. I certainly did not have a written personal plan, as we'll see here momentarily in our State of the Institute address and the release of our new State of Owner Readiness Survey. And so I kind of wandered around for the year and ended up teaming up with my father, Chris, who is a certified exit planning advisor, celebrating 15 years this year of being a certified exit planning advisor. I was able to come into his practice at that point and learn about what we all know today, and have been on this journey then for the last 10 plus years, almost, I guess, 15 years now, 14 years or so, I guess it would be, on this exit planning journey. And in a kind of unique spot, I am part educator and also part practitioner of the value acceleration methodology and all of its concepts. I can tell you that for me, it's been a really unique thing as a business owner to learn from folks like all of you, learn from my father, take these concepts of value acceleration in place and truly embrace exit strategy as business strategy. And for me, taking it a step further, really embracing value acceleration as a lifestyle, this blend and balance of business, personal, and financial goals. So that's a little bit about me. Agenda-wise, we're going to kind of break this down into 4 areas, maybe 3 major ones. I want to recap a part of our State of the Institute address for those of you that have joined us over the last several years. We kind of recap both the EPI community and the advancements within the community. And we also talk about some kind of milestone moments in terms of our market as well. Then we'll move into the future of the EPI community and the market, and where our certified exit planning advisors, our partners, our advisors that all are a part of our community will have impact. And I think for many of us joining today as well, probably the big moment, we will debut the 2023 National State of Owner Readiness Survey results. Then we'll kind of wrap up, and I'll take some questions. If you've seen me present before, I think every single presentation that I've made, certainly over the last year, maybe even stretching into the last 18 months, really started with this perhaps simple but yet complex statement. I think for many business owners, I think if you sat and talked to your business owner clients today and you asked them, do you feel successful in what you have built over the last 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, maybe through generations of family business? I think many of them, most of them, would say absolutely yes. I believe that I have a great product or service. I have great people. We have great customers. I know many of our customers. We make good money, and my family has a nice lifestyle. I'm very proud of what I've built, and I feel very successful absolutely within it. But what they do then, those business owners, when they go to sell their business, they're kind of slapped across the face for the first time, because although they might have built something of success year over year over year, they have not built anything of significance. And for us, and I think it's really a power statement, if you will, it's a message that I've been trying to get across for the last year and a half, both to advisors and business owners, is that it's not about just building a successful business as an owner. It's about building something of significance. And a significant company for us at EPI and for all of our certified exit planning advisors is a company that is valuable and transferable, ready and attractive really at any point, and that is aligned to the business owner's business, personal, and financial goals. And this is, I think, what we're after as SEPAs. This is what we're after as business owners, and staying true to my opening statements in all of my presentations. I try to drive home that message. Now, for all of us that are certified exit planning advisors joining us today, we certainly know a lot about the EPI community, but for our friends and folks that are new joining us here on our State of Institute address, I think that EPI is certainly known for our certified exit planning advisor credential without doubt. But over really the last 4 to 5 years, the Exit Planning Institute really has become a community of advisors who all believe in or who all are focused on building those significant companies for business owners. So they could be non-SEPAs. There are certainly SEPAs. There are people that support the work of professional advisors that help us accelerate, our practices, so on and so forth. So really what I wanted to just share with us today is this ecosystem that is built by all of you and all of us here at the Exit Planning Institute. So we certainly have the credential. I think more notably, next notable would be our chapter network. We have 30 chapters across the United States offering in-person and live and virtual meetings. We have a huge webinar series, a multiple webinar series going on each month. We have the world's largest exit planning centric conference called the Exit Planning Summit. And over the past couple of years, we have now built out our EPI Academy, which is really for anybody, SEPA, non-SEPA, business owner, business leader, that's interested in learning more about and exposing themselves to the value acceleration methodology and all of its pieces, parts. If Chris, my father, were here, he would describe it as the exit planning periodic table. And that's what we're building throughout the EPI Academy. So great on-demand 2 to 4 hour type courses that really expand your knowledge within the process. Also, if you work with EPI or follow us, we have dozens of pieces of content. If you go to the EPI website now, navigate to the resources tab, you can see both our blog, which holds a ton of articles and downloadables, and then our free content library as well. Now, if you're a certified exit planning advisor with us, that goes well beyond that into a member center. And we've spent time, certainly time and resources over the last 2 years, really revamping and building this thing out in a project that we call internally building out our digital ecosystem, which really embraces that member center as well. So if you haven't been in there as a certified exit planning advisor for a long time, I would encourage you to log into your member center, check out some of the new stuff that's being dumped into there for you to use, and really start to engage on this. If you're logging into your account and you don't see this, that is because you are a credentialed only member. So our people that about a third of the EPI members ride on what's called the credentialed plus membership. So all of this stuff is available for you there if you're a credentialed plus member. So 2023, yet a monumental, impactful year, both for us here at EPI and everybody inside of our EPI community, without doubt. I would draw your attention really to, I think one of the things I'm most proud of is over the last year, we have truly become a community of advisors, truly focused on building those significant companies for business owners. Though we have 5,000 certified exit planning advisors, there's another 10 to 15,000 advisors that I always say kind of hang out inside of the EPI community. They download our content, they listen to our podcasts. I'm in the Exit Is Now podcast studio broadcasting here today. They go to our chapter meetings, they come to the summit, they interact with the academy, they interact with other CEPAs, they follow EPI. So I think truly across the United States and across the globe, it's much more than just the certified exit planning advisor. I'm very proud to say that nearly 15,000 advisors, when including the CEPA, the credential holders, really have come together inside of this community, kind of thrust us forward. I think a thrust that you'll see in the debut of our 2023 National State of Owner Readiness Survey results. I mean, a huge, huge impact. We celebrated 2 10-year anniversaries last year. There's been 10 years since the original State of Owner Readiness Survey, which kind of prompted, if you will, the 2023 research that we did. We wanted to see where owners were at 10 years later, what the impact of our certified exit planning advisors and the folks that support them has been. But we also celebrated 10 years of the value acceleration methodology, a methodology that my father, Chris, created a little bit more than 10 years ago, but was debuted inside of the 2013 spring CEPA program, was evolved then in the fall program, and we've been evolving that methodology over the last 10 years. That 10-year anniversary prompted the launch of Walking to Destiny 2.0, the second edition of the Walking into Destiny book. A proud moment, I think a proud moment for me, likely a proud moment for Dad as well. Dad gave me the nice privilege to collaborate with him on that book, and I was a contributor to some of that content and some of the chapters along the way. I think 2 things, if you haven't read the Walking to Destiny second edition, 2 things for me that really stand out, kind of getting that behind the scenes look and watching Dad write that book. One, the methodology has certainly evolved. Again, we'll see this as we move into our State of Owner Readiness Survey results. Without doubt, the methodology has evolved as more and more owners have adopted this methodology, living a more value acceleration centric lifestyle. And as you as advisors have implemented it into your practices as conversational points, as service offerings, you have also helped to evolve that methodology. Also, since kind of post-pandemic, if you will, 21, 2022, and certainly into last year, Dad and I, as business owners and business partners, and as family business owners, have really been able to embrace the value acceleration methodology across all 3 legs. For me, the biggest impact is really from the business side of things, really pivoting our company several years ago into the version that you see it today. And I think last year, in particularly, Dad pivoting from a personal financial standpoint. We hosted some of our first family meetings together. We have a full-blown estate plan and strategy now. I think that we're well covered and well balanced across all 3 legs of the stool. What you'll see in Walking to Destiny 2.0 is Dad implementing those stories and telling those stories through the book. So if you haven't read it, I would encourage you to certainly read the book Walking to Destiny, the second version, and go and certainly go from there. Well, some of the successes along the way have come without doubt with some issues. And I think every good organization, every great leader says, look, let's address some of these issues. Let's recognize that we certainly have our flaws. And I think for followers of the Exit Planning Institute and our certified exit planning advisors, and particularly knowing that we know of them and are addressing them, I think is critical. I would say for me, as the president of the organization, there's really 4 key things that stick out for me. Number 1, last year, another kind of monumental moment, we implemented a new continuing education program, policy and procedure for our certified exit planning advisors. Every year, as many credential holders do, every year, every 3 years for the CEPAs, we have to submit new CE and to renew that designation. we implemented we still have to do 40 hours of CE every 3 years, but today and beyond, the certified exit planning advisor will need to submit half of those hours, what we call EPI hours, that are endorsed education by EPI or directly from the Exit Planning Institute. Many of you over the last several months in talking to me directly or our team here at EPI have asked, why do that? We made that change this time last year to really help boost the credibility of the designation and to ensure that our designation holders are reinvesting into the methodology and the approach that they were certified within. And so I think critically important, as we'll see when the State of Owner Readiness Survey results come to light here, it is certainly without doubt a fast and flexible marketplace and profession. The methodology is ever changing. We talked about the changes in Walking to Destiny, but nevertheless, I think critical for us to be reinvesting into that education in both our free platforms and our deep dive platforms, depending on what's right for you. But I think some of the best in class SEPAs are truly people that are lifelong learners, are purposeful growers. And we thought that by requiring half of our hours to be EPI endorsed would be critical path. Now, that doesn't come without issue. So we are working through that. If you're a SEPA, we've implemented a CE tracker to your member center. So if you log in right on your dashboard, you will see these hours being tracked for you, trying to simplify the methodology. I always smile when I think about some of our more veteran SEPAs. You used to literally have to print out a sheet of paper, write down your hours, and then scan that thing back to us. We're much more advanced and involved. Certainly another thing that was a part of the advancement of what we call our digital ecosystem. The second issue that is really a true pain point for me, and I think many of our certified exit planning advisors on our webinar today, is vendor solicitation. So, and quite frankly and transparently, I'm trying to figure out how to combat this because there's pros and cons. Number one, our website, the EPI website, is visited more so, as you can imagine, than ever before by all different types of people. Certainly our advisory community, but our business leaders, our business owners, people in the academic world, people in the media. It is one of the reasons we were found by the U.S. Senate and why they appointed me to come and present as an expert witness there. Now, many eyes on that website also allows them to navigate into the Find a SEPA directory, where all of our certified exit planning advisors are listed if they want to be in that directory. Now, the pain point in that, folks, is very transparently, is that people mine that directory. So people are going on and mining that directory saying, hey, these certified exit planning advisors are the new thing. They are experts in the space. I want to be with them. I want to sell them stuff. So quite simply, they're mining that list and then they're sending out marketing pieces to you. So nonetheless, a little bit of a pain point, I think, for everybody, me and all of our certified exit planning advisors. We're trying to figure out how to address that. Maybe more from a marketplace, SEPA and non-SEPA, two other types of things. Number one, are navigating our membership and our access to our tools and resources. I talked to you earlier about our Credential Plus membership, but really what this third point boils down for me is we would call this internally our Beyond SEPA path. How are we taking the education and the methodology? How are we embracing it as business advisors? And then how are we growing over the next 2 or 3 years? I always talk about it in the 5 stages of value maturity, like we teach here at EPI. We get out of the SEPA program, we almost have to protect value, meaning we got to lay a good foundation before we have to go out and strategically build value and really accelerate our practices as exit planning advisors. So nonetheless, making a clearer and more concise and more intentional or deliberate way to integrate what we've learned as SEPAs early on and then embrace it and accelerate it ourselves. It's certainly a pain point that we're addressing. And then last but not least, and frankly, in a growing market with more and more owners knowing about exit planning, they still struggle. And I think even some of the leaders in our space today struggle with, what is an exit planner? What does that mean? What is exit planning? And I'll address that in particular here momentarily with you all as well. But certainly getting some clarity around what is an exit planner, what is exit planning, I think is critical path. And even though I might be educated, if I'm educated as an owner, but don't truly understand, or I have the wrong definition of what an exit planner is, not good for anybody in the space. So 4 issues that come to mind. Looking towards the future, if you will, these 3 things certainly play off our name, EPI, experiences, people, and innovation. But nonetheless, I think in all seriousness are very critical thrusts for all of us to have if we are going to be impactful, we being the Exit Planning Institute, if we are going to be impactful to all of you as our advisors, and if you as an advisor are going to be impactful to business owners, these 3 things and embracing what they mean, I think are going to be critical path. Number 1, we have to build transformational experiences. For me to you as the advisor, EPI to the advisory community, we have to be able to influence you and impact you and change your mindset so that you embrace this holistic mindset, embrace collaboration more so than ever before, go out, create excellent exit planning teams, and go shake the branches, change owner mindsets, and really change outcomes. We have to provide you with these transformational experiences. 2, we have to provide you with a network. Exit planning is a team sport. It is a ecosystem of a variety different of advisors that come in and out of the process, a core group that sits around the owner, but people are absolutely critical. Just like for you as the advisor to the owner, people affecting change inside of people, surrounding the owner with great teams is absolutely critical. And then last but not least, in a changing environment, both in marketplace and in profession and approach, being innovative and creative is absolutely critical. And so when you think about those 3 things, they really are the themes that we base everything off of here in EPI. And I think truly become key thrusts for EPI and for our SEPAs to be impactful. A few things that stand out that might be new or ever changing that I think of our note, maybe low hanging fruit and more strategic thrusts, if you will. 1, the summit is coming up here in May or in April in Marco Island, Florida, the last week of April. It will grow again. We had about 600 advisors there. We anticipate last year we'll have about 800 advisors this year joining us, and we're almost sold out. So if you're interested, please grab that spot, both in terms of spots at the summit and the hotel room block. But we have every year, what I love about the EPI conference and what our team does is that based on your feedback, we evolve the conference with different types of education, different types of sessions, and different types of experiences. So I would say that the summit is almost always new in some way, shape, or form. The Exit is Now podcast, again, here in the studio. We debuted that podcast last year, and we put a twist on it this year. So the podcast for me, what I wanted to do last year was showcase my journey as a business owner through value acceleration. Though Dad wrote the book Walking to Destiny, folks, my book one day will be Growing Up Through Value Acceleration. How did I manage my life and my business to the eventual effective exit of my company? No doubt. And so really all of our guests last year were people that influenced me directly or indirectly and share in some way in my value acceleration journey. This year, we're having similar type guests, but every 3rd or 4th episode, we're flipping the script. So instead of me being the host and kind of navigating and directing the questions, we are having people that are very close to me come in and interview me. So we're having some close SEPAs that influence me, Dad, and the team, and then all of our executive team come in and for the 45-minute or hour-long show, ask me questions. So that's kind of new, if you will. I wanted to put on here our SEPA think tank. So particularly, again, for our certified exit planning advisor community, the think tanks, I think, are also critical path. They're hosted every other week on Mondays. It is a time both to learn more and then educate or learn more and network with fellow certified exit planning advisors. So these are exclusive to our SEPAs. Again, they are meant to, in a more virtual world, provide networking opportunities every other week for you. So if you're looking for different perspectives, if you're looking for more of a worldly view, how are our SEPAs in Canada or Australia or in England embracing these types of things, this is a great time to come on and chat with other certified exit planning advisors while learning some hot topics as well. Also, our EPI Academy is evolving. We added, I believe, almost 20 new courses to the academy, 16 courses to the academy last year. We're going to add some more courses in there, but organize now them in a way that we can get continuing education, we can get practice development, we can get deep dive into the triggering event and discovery gate. We can get more unique or perhaps specific topics around taxes and estate planning, things of that nature. But certainly another evolution of the EPI Academy will come this year. Now, the two things that I'm, again, probably most excited about, but are also the most strategic for EPI, are both the expansion of our digital ecosystem and the Beyond SEPA path. And they almost kind of bleed together, if you will, along the way. What I mean by our digital ecosystem, probably the biggest thing that you'll see is a 3-year journey for a certified exit planning advisor, taking you from point of graduation, I'm a new SEPA, all the way through the 120-day playbook, which is a foundation builder, all the way through your second and third year in a very deliberate way, giving you experiences, people, and innovation, but also driving to what the research we debuted last year around what makes a best-in-class SEPA. Again, people that are evolving their value acceleration methodology knowledge, people that are changing their approach and language, and people that have become great collaborators and connectors. Probably we'll debut many new products. A part of this, we saw some new products over the last couple of years here at EPI with EPI Academy. We will be investigating launching products like a coaching and mentoring program, very deliberate practice and practice management cohorts. We are looking at hosting quarterly in-person conferences. So something very different than the big national conferences. Are regionalized places where we can roll up our sleeves, collaborate, look at case studies, and build deep relationships. But many things along that Beyond SEPA path and ecosystem expansion. And we will be debuting an online community for both SEPA and non-SEPA, where we can all join in one kind of online Facebook type community, all for exit planning advisors, where we can post questions, we can interact with each other, we can post jobs if we're looking to hire people, we can post case studies, share content. And so that is where we're heading in the Beyond SEPA path and the EPI and the digital ecosystem, something that I don't think will fully debut until about this time next year, but something that is new for us in 2024 and I think very innovative for our community. So before I dive into the State of Owner Readiness Survey results, I wanted to talk about this one issue around what is an exit planner. And so for me, again, I think this is an issue for our profession. If we don't know what it truly means, then our owners sure as hell don't know what it truly means. And though you could read the formal definition on your screen today, I'll summarize it for in my own words. I think in talking to many people, business owners and advisors, I think many people think about an exit planner as the person that works on the business, that prepares the owner in their company for this eventual exit, the consultant, if you will, the doer, as some people have called it here of recently. But for me, and for those that are certified exit planning advisors, if we're only concentrated on doing consulting and making a business highly valuable, then we're actually only doing one of the 3 legs of the stool. And in order to have a significant company, an owner themselves needs to have business, personal, and financial goals and elements of their life all aligned. So absolutely, the person that is the consultant working on the business to make a better, stronger, more valuable and transferable company is in fact an exit planner. But the financial planner who's closing the owner's wealth gap, who's understanding what they want to do personally in their next act or phases of their life, and developing a wealth management or an investment strategy, a sound financial plan that powers this whole thing, the owner and their life, is absolutely doing exit planning. An executive coach, a life coach that's helping a business owner understand core values, that's bringing the family together on a more regular basis, that's allowing the owner to investigate who they are outside of their company as an entrepreneur or business owner, that person is doing exit planning. The person creating the estate plan and the will, they're absolutely doing exit planning. The person doing all the legal work, absolutely doing exit planning. The person conducting the valuation, so that we can understand truly what our value is today so that we could drive value tomorrow. That person is also doing exit planning, folks. So the exit planner for me is someone that goes well beyond just their functional expertise. An exit planner is somebody that's an educator, somebody that's a collaborator and connector, somebody that has a holistic mindset, somebody that's a great leader, that's impactful, that can change an owner's mindset, and somebody that does in fact do and execute exit planning in some way, shape, or form, depending on their particular role within the team, but they execute through an exit planning team. So although I think us as individuals, as certified exit planning advisors, depending on what role we have, we are all doing, and in fact are all are exit planners. The true exit planner really is the whole team. It's not just one individual. It's us operating together as the CPA, the FA, the financial advisor, the business consultant, the attorney, the family business advisor. Those people operating in unison is the exit planner. And so to me, I really want to drive that home as we move into the rest of the year here in 2024. But I think critical path for us to get right as we move through our year here together. So the big debut, the 2023 National State of Owner Readiness Survey, to give you maybe a little bit of a brief history and maybe talk about the significant market change that we've seen over the last few years. Since 2013, we haven't done any national research, but we've done about a dozen or more regional pieces of research in different states and different communities. We ended last year with debuting Los Angeles and their State of Owner Readiness Survey, and the Minnesota State of Owner Readiness Survey. So two recent regionals that came out in the fall of 2023. What we've also seen then over the course of this 10-year journey is we've seen market change. 2013, we saw 60% of the market owned by baby boomers. In 2023, that dropped to 51%. And the next biggest chunk of owners of privately held companies in the States here today is 43% that are owned by Gen X. So people ages, give or take, turning 43 this year all the way up to 59, which the next kind of major point, all baby boomers generally, certainly the owners, will be 60 years old or older this year. So all baby boomers will absolutely kind of hit that big milestone birthday, if you will. The purpose of the research back in 2013, all the way through the stuff that we've seen regionally to this year, last year's 2023, that research that wrapped up and that we're debuting here today, have really three main goals. We're trying to understand privately held companies and their owners, how educated they are and how aware of exit planning. Do they truly believe that exit strategy is business strategy? Number one. Number two, we're trying to find out how ready are they personally, what we call personal preparedness for this eventual transition. And then we're also looking at how ready their company is for this eventual transition. When you'll get a slide here at the end of our discussion talking about the report. The first section of the report is an executive summary. I would read that certainly first, and then navigate your way through a pretty robust and detailed report, wildly more detailed than the one in 2013, and a little bit more robust than what we've seen regionally. For today, I'm going to take out, I think it's sections 4 and 5, and talk to them briefly today. That we're going to talk about the three legs of the stool and what we're finding in each leg based on the research, and then my 4 key observations that we have. We had about 1,200 privately held companies, business owners take the survey this year, all done by third-party research. So these are not necessarily SEPAs going out and getting owners to take the survey. Hired 2 third-party market research companies to go out and get owners to take our survey so we get a true understanding of what owners are or how owners are ready. I think it's very representative of the industries here in the United States. Very diverse in terms of size of companies. So I think we got a good group there, and diverse in terms of age, and pretty diverse across the regions of the United States. Though I think the standouts are the South and the Northeast, some of the biggest chunks of owners that have taken that survey. The biggest thing for me, my biggest number one takeaway, folks, is up on your right-hand corner here. In 2013, 10 years ago, we asked the owners, to what level of attention have you given your exit to date? And you can pick no attention, little attention, some attention, high attention, or top priority. In 2013, only 6% of owners said that it was their top priority. And now 69% are saying it's hitting either high attention or top priority, hitting their attention list. And I believe it's 36% of owners in 2023 said exit planning was in fact their top priority. And that is absolutely amazing to hear. Some other big statistics for me that show owners are more interested in exit planning than ever before. 2013, we saw 35% of owners completing formal exit planning education. In our new state of owner readiness research, that is up to 68%. Likewise, we're looking to see if owners are actually doing value enhancement to their companies or performing some type of active due diligence on their companies in attempt to sell at some time. In 2013, that stat was 14%. It is now at 62%, which leads me to my first key observation that undoubtedly over the last 10 years, owners are much more educated in exit planning than ever before, both to the work of our community and advisors really across the United States and across the globe as we change our own mindsets, which have eventually affected business owners and what they're thinking. But also just because exit planning is hotter than it's ever been, right? Our pandemic, I think, has influenced that. The age has influenced that. Younger owners have influenced that. I went online and typed in the phrase exit planning to a Google search. 968 million results came up, almost a billion results coming up around exit planning. Our community, I think, as well as people not in the EPI community, we see dozens of podcasts around the subject, books, white papers, case studies. They're all more accessible than they've ever been for many business owners. EPI specifically as a community, when we did our first research in 2013, we had 200 CEPAs and we had one chapter. Today, the EPI community has 5,000 certified exit planning advisors and we have 30 chapters across the United States. So undoubtedly, the education is there. However, as we know as certified exit planning advisors, not just about education, it's about the proof. Although we know about exit planning, are we doing something about it, right? There's a difference between knowing a lot about it and actually putting the pen to the paper, right? Actually executing on what we know. So now I want to go into the three legs of the stool in brief. Again, you'll be able to download this full report, but maybe some highlights for you. The first highlight for me is 45% of owners in 2023 feel they are best in class or better when it comes to business readiness. That's pretty incredible. So if you're a CEPA, we know the common sense scoring scale, it's a 1 to 6 scale. If you're in the middle, you can't be. You have to pick a 3, which is slightly below average, or a 4, which is slightly above. 5 is best in class, and 6 is perfect. So 45% believe they're a 5 or a 6, best in class or better. In comparison to 2013, we only saw 5% of people thinking that they are business owners thinking they were 5% or best in class or better. So we've gone from 5% to 45%. We have what's called the green zone. So this is a 4 or better or a 67% or better. We see that 60% of owners, respondents, feel that they are above average. So they are 4, 5, or 6. They are above average when it comes to their business readiness. Again, the proof behind this, what we are seeing here is 42% of owners have a written transition strategy that they can produce that's well documented. 60% of owners have conducted a formal valuation on their company, and 62% have an active value acceleration or value enhancement or pre-due diligence work going on in their business. Now, if you looked at the 42% that have a written transition strategy, there's 8 elements that EPI has that are a part of this written business transition strategy. These are the top 3 from those 8 that they said that the business owner said their plan embraces. Number 1, business goals and objectives that lead to value. Not only do they have the goals, number 2, they have developed 90-day action plans to achieve those value goals. And three, they have conducted a business readiness enhancement that analyzes the intangible capitals in some way, shape, or form. So all pretty good points of proof that in fact, perhaps 45% of owners are certainly best in class or better. I think more true, 67% are certainly above average. I feel right with that. That feels good to me. Now, there are about 30% of owners that are still saying they have spent little to no attention on their exit. And the big two reasons why they're indicating here, I am too busy growing my business. And number two, I am too young. I am too young and I have time. So certainly some work for all of us to do inside of the EPI community for those folks. Next, the business path. The standout stat for me is this 7 and 41%. This was pretty poor back in 2013, 10 years ago, when the owners were asked, do you have a written personal plan on the way you want to live your life post transition? Only 7% of owners said that they actually had that written plan. 10 years later, that stat is up to 41% of owners indicate that they have a written transition plan. And not on your slide, but what you'll see on your report is 44% of owners believe they are best in class or better in terms of their personal preparedness or personal readiness in terms of when they want to transition. Very similarly, they're indicating that they have readiness assessments, written goals, written action plans, written purpose, written core values to go along with that. Interestingly enough, and I think very influenced by the baby boomers and the Gen Xers, are what they want to do in a post-transition lifestyle. The big one being 42% saying, look, I just kind of I want to retire. I'm kind of done. I'm moving into the next phases of my life. I have grandkids. I have other passions. We can see a very civic engagement, a very community-oriented group here as well in the top three. 42% want to retire. I think that's very influenced by the baby boomers here inside of that particular group. But we see 39% up from 27% want to buy or invest in another business. I invite you to go into the report and look at that, because when you look at that particular section, there's all kinds of different entrepreneurial mindsets kind of hidden in there. But nonetheless, strong personal path as well. And last but not least, our financial path. I think a path that could be challenged a little bit here, and I'll share momentarily why. But nonetheless, for me, if you've heard me teach exit planning, I think everything begins with a wealth gap conversation. It actually doesn't begin with the business. It kind of begins with the personal path, but you go there using numbers and saying, well, what is your net worth? And to understand, or what do you need it to be? And you have that conversation by understanding what they want to do in the next acts of their life. Nonetheless, 47% of business owners believe they are best in class or better when it comes to their financial readiness, their personal financial readiness. Now, I think there's not a connection here for me a little bit. You cannot possibly be best in class or better if you don't have an estate plan and you don't have a will. What you see here is 36% of owners indicating that they have an updated estate plan, and only 29% are saying they have a will. So I think a little bit of a challenge for us as advisors, for us as business owners listening in today. Certainly, I think you can't possibly be that ready if you don't have those kind of key elements apart. So maybe a piece that we could take away as a little bit of an action item, if you will. Now, I know many of you perhaps might be shocked at this, but nonetheless, I think that it's very rational, very reasonable to think 10 years ago when the owner was asked, who is your most trusted advisor? The number one answer by far was their accountant, their CPA. That was followed by number two, their most trusted advisor were their owner peer groups, their entrepreneur organization, EO, their Vistage group, their chief executive board group, a group of fellow owners advising each other. That was their number two most trusted advisor. 3 was their spouse, 4 was their attorney, and 5 was their financial advisor. But back then, the number 5 spot for the financial advisor, only about 4% of owners said that you were their most trusted advisor. Today, this has jumped to the number 1 most trusted advisor is the financial advisor, and you've moved up to about 30% of owners indicating the number 1 spot 30% indicate that the financial advisor is their most trusted advisor. Now why? I think two major things. I think it's influenced heavily by the investment of the financial advisory services industry profession in exit planning. Since 2017, financial advisors have been attracted to this space, wanting to integrate themselves early and often. All of the big wirehouses, all of the independents, they have been making massive investment into the exit planning space, educating their advisors to be prepared to have these conversations with business owners, aligning their business, personal, and financial goals. They are providing resources. In fact, my father, Chris, was with John Hancock and I believe Edward Jones this week doing some private education for them. A massive investment since 2017 from the financial advisory world. So bravo and congratulations. And in all seriousness, I do believe our fellow advisors could take a lot out of that playbook. But I also think it is certainly influenced by age. Number one, again, all baby boomers will be 60 years old or older this year. I believe the average boomer is 67, without doubt. I think influenced by age as well. The second key observation that I have for you today is, in fact, exit strategy is a priority for younger generations, without doubt. The research shows it. Again, 43% of our market today is owned by people, particularly in these Gen X. So we're looking at people today, ages 44, turning 44 years old to 59 years old. And again, why this observation? So for me, if you study that particular, we're going to look at millennials next, but let's look at Gen X right now. Again, 44 to 59, maybe this sounds like you if you're in that age range. 80% of Gen Xers believe that they have an advanced understanding of money, insurance, and taxes. Number two, they also, though they have a high understanding, their biggest worry is in fact those same things. And if you looked at their financial future, the two biggest answers of worry they have are one, my retirement, and two, my savings. If you look and study that generation even more, both as just a generation as a whole, and then a generation that own businesses, one, I believe is the owners that want boomerang exits. They will not, like the baby boomers, own a business for 25, 40, or 50 years. They will grow it over 10 to 15 years, sell it, and do another one. So these are your boomerang business owners. If you looked at their generational characteristics, they believe naturally in a work-life balance and blend. They believe in the use of technology, and they want to work smarter and not harder. Again, and maybe fourth, this generation has grown up with exit planning. If you rewind back to 2013, the first State of Owner Readiness Survey, these owners were only 34 years old, and the oldest was only 49 years old. So over that course of owning a business, then, they have learned alongside all of us and have been exposed to more exit planning strategies. For owners in that generation that lean into selling built to sell mentality, that want a balanced life, that want to secure their financial future, well, the value acceleration methodology and exit strategy as business strategy is prime time for you. Same thing with the millennials. If you rewind 10 years ago with millennials, they were as young as 18 and as old as 33. Today, they are 28 to 43. That is my generation. And like I said, my book's going to be growing up through value acceleration. So they are more exposed than ever before. So looking at that particular generation, millennials are actually saying that 48% of them want to exit within the next 5 years, not just the next 10. But by dissecting all of this information, they are without doubt not just the most educated, but the millennial generation is actually looks like the most ready. 65% indicate they have personal plans, 55% have company plans, and 68% have a personal financial plan. So pretty high indication of readiness there. But 75% of owners overall in the survey are saying that they want to exit in the next 10 years. And I think that makes sense. And I think that a big difference 10 years later is that the exits in our country are actually very influenced by the younger generations. They're almost speeding up the exits, if you will. If I'm a Gen Xer if I'm a Gen Xer or a millennial, well, if I'm one of the younger ones, well, I'll be the youngest today in the Gen X is 54 years old, and the youngest millennial, I believe, is 38 years old. So nonetheless, in the next 10 years, we're going to have some exits happening of some relatively young owners that indicating from a personal standpoint, they want to go do it again and again and again. The third key observation that I have for you is that there has been a significant shift in family business transition. And maybe this, in talking to some of our SEPA faculty members that are family enterprise advisors, family business advisors, it was very enlightening to learn more about the generations, particularly two for me, who's in a family business with my father, Chris. 82% of second generation owners are indicating that they want to sell internally. They are favoring a family business option. They are favoring employee and ESOPs, and they are favoring a management buyouts more so than really any other generation. And when I looked at the difference, I guess, between, call it first gen or baby boomer owners and second gen, maybe Gen X owners or millennial owners, why would the younger generations favor those internal options more so than the first generation owners, really regardless of age? And what I believe and what I've learned is that I believe family business owners in that second or third generation carry the weight of the family business. I believe they feel the sense of legacy. They feel the sense of responsibility to transition that business internally and kind of keep that legacy going. Saw this in one of my early episodes on my podcast with two of my friends, Rick and Joe, who are both third generation family business owners. And when I asked them what their vision for the future was in their own family businesses, they said to just preserve what my father and grandfather created. Now, I challenge them, of course, because if I'm one that certainly believes if your business isn't growing, it's dying. But nonetheless, it was interesting to hear them talk about what their grandfathers started out of their sheds to what their fathers built in 100,000 square foot manufacturing facilities, to saying, look, I just want to preserve my family legacy. But nonetheless, family plays a significant role, and they're communicating better. They're communicating better than I think ever before. 90% of both generations reported that their family is in fact aware of both their management and owner transition plans. They are communicating regularly. 78% of family business owners indicated that they have at least one family meeting per year. 33% of them said they have multiple family meetings per year. So nonetheless, the family businesses are communicating better and more often than ever before. And last but not least, we'll see if we have some time for questions. If you've been around for a long time, and you remember the founding of EPI in 2005, the first CPIC program in 2007, back then, we talked about this $10 trillion opportunity. In fact, the book that founded EPI was called just that, the $10 trillion opportunity, investigating what then they called the silver tsunami, this massive wealth transfer that we'll see. Well, from our findings in the National State of Owner Readiness Survey from last year, we find that it's in fact not a $10 trillion opportunity anymore. It is a $14 trillion opportunity, with 9 million coming to transfer in the next 5 years alone. If you looked, on average, if you took the baby boomers and the Gen Xers and concentrated on that generation alone, 73% on average of that generation wants to transition in the next 10 years. And it certainly makes sense just given their age range and demographic or generational characteristics. From talking to our experts, we find that these privately held companies overall hold a value of $18.7 trillion. So that's an $18.7 trillion wealth transfer. If you take about 75% of that, rounding up, that's a $14 trillion wealth transfer over the next 10 years. Now, the kicker, what you'll see from the State of Owner Readiness Survey, is that 47.5%, so let's call it 48% of owners, want to transition in the next 5 years alone. That will equate to a $9 trillion wealth transfer that we will see in our country just in the next 10 years. So with that, folks, you can bring out your phones and scan this QR code if you want the State of Owner Readiness Survey report. You can also navigate over to exit-planning-institute.org. You'll likely see a pop-up there. So just go to the EPI website, just go to Google, type in Exit Planning Institute, click the website, you'll see a pop-up there. You can also go to the resources tab. So if you're following along with me right now at the EPI website, go to the resource tab, click State of Owner Readiness Survey. You'll see an opportunity to download the report there in full detail. It's pretty robust. You'll see we have appendix with all the graphs and all the data as well. But nonetheless, you can download the report there. And I could say, folks, I have never been more excited to be leading the Exit Planning Institute. I think it's going to be an exciting 2024. I'm saying, what a market. 10 years ago, when we first entered this market, when I first did, no one knew what the hell exit planning was. The big hurdle, and the big challenge for us as professional advisors is that we needed to educate owners. They didn't know what the hell we were talking about. They needed some support. They knew transition strategy was important, but they weren't actively doing anything about it because they were kicking the can down the road till they were, quote, ready to transition their business. I think from just sharing today at a very high level, we find not only are owners more educated than ever before, but they're more ready than ever educated. So bravo and congratulations to all of our early adopters and everybody that has come through the last 10 years. I think truly owners understand that exit planning is business strategy. They are actively on a pathway to create a more significant company. Now we can actually roll up our sleeves. Though we need to educate, we can roll up our sleeves and start to work with owners. And I think really, truly collaborate in these teams. And so I really appreciate everybody's time here today. I am going to, with the few minutes that we have left, see if we could dive into to some of these questions, and we have a lot of them. One question is around the business broker being a part of the exit planning team. We would say the business broker, or generally M&A advisor, should be brought in more early and often, but they are a functional member. They will come in and out of the equation as they see fit, typically coming into the decide gate when we're going to get ready and take the business to market, not necessarily part of the core team. Let's see. So another question, to what extent do these responses reflect the influence of owners prompted by CEPAs to participate in the survey? As I mentioned at the top of the hour, this was a completely third party. We had two third-party market research companies. So though they might have worked with a CEPA, these were not CEPAs interviewing their owners. Do you believe the move to the financial advisor up the list is influenced by age? So yes, I think in part, but if the owners weren't as educated by the financial advisor, it might not be. I think that certainly the baby boomer, again, approaching this kind of traditional retirement age, is more in tune to their financial future than ever before, actively trying to close their wealth gap. So naturally turning to their financial advisor. You can't discount the tremendous investment that the financial advisors have made inside of this methodology and inside of this community and inside of exit planning as a whole. So I think it's two-part, is that yes, baby boomers, Gen Xers who are more financially inclined and more personally inclined to kind of look at all of this, that's naturally there for them. But again, I think the financial advisors have truly embraced this methodology. Where do you review this report? Again, go to the Exit Planning Institute website. You can scan that QR code that is listed right here, and you can grab that. Report. All right. So we are actually over time, folks. So what we're going to do is close this out. We can get copies of the presentation, copy of the report, all of that good stuff at the EPI website. Feel free, if you are a certified exit planning advisor, to integrate with and reach out to your account management team. Your representatives are all waiting here to work with you. So with that, folks, I look forward to working with all of you this year to put our companies more on a path of significance versus just success. I hope you utilize this report inside of your firms with your business owner clients as an educational tool. with that, folks, hopefully I'll see you at the summit in Marco Island in May, or in April, and we'll see you all soon. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.